All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm taking over for Alan today. He couldn't make the meeting. So I want to call the meeting to order for May the 4th of 2021. Jackie, can I get a roll call?
Chairman Michelina,
Yes.
Boardman or Commissioner Briers, Commissioner Kelly,
Here.
Commissioner Tondino,
Aye, here.
Commissioner Williams. And then Chairman Briley is absent, so you do have a quorum.
You didn't call Byers.
You didn't answer.
Does anybody have a conflict of interest? No?
No.
Okay. Jackie, would you like to take care of certification of compliance?
Yes. Notice of this meeting and property posted in accordance with Resolution 2021-01 and in compliance with Section 54-40 of the Village Municipal Code.
Okay. Has everybody reviewed the agenda? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
A motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Do we need a roll call?
Yes, you do.
Yes. Commissioner Michelina,
Yes.
Commissioner Briers,
Byers, yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Tondino,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Okay. Has everyone looked at the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I
Okay.
second.
Commissioner Michelina,
Yes.
Commissioner Byers,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Tondino,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Okay. For public input, does anyone plan to speak at today's meeting?
Chairman, if we could ask those that would like to make a comment for anything that is not on the agenda today to go ahead
Okay.
and voice their thoughts now.
Okay. I guess we're good.
Yes.
Okay. Jackie, do you want to read the request for the cases?
Chairman, I'll go ahead and present the quasi-judicial cases that we have today for these public hearings. Our first case will be a variance request from Kayla Ortiz. She's requesting approval of a variance to encroach 15 feet into the required 20 feet front setbacks as designated by the R1 Single Family Residential District to build a new single-family residence. This is located at Lot 53, Block 4 of the Camelot subdivision at 146 Worcester Drive. This lot is extremely steep and the majority of it is not buildable in my opinion. We do have Mark Younger and the property owner Kayla Ortiz on the line. If you all would like to present your case at this time for the commission.
Yeah, I'll do that if you like. Whatever. So
So we have this lot. It's extremely difficult, like was noted, to build on, both because of its steepness, and it gets quite narrow at the back too. To make this, basically, it's one of those lots where the road was built right to the edge of the property line, right on the inside of the right of way, as you can see on the topography that's attached. Because of that, as the lot leaves where the side of the right of way drops immediately. So to go to the full 20-foot setback would mean dropping down the hill somewhere beyond more than 10 feet down. So every foot or so we go back on the lot, we're increasing significantly the amount of foundation and engineering that has to be done to allow the house to be built. Also, because this lot is right at the very, pretty much the end of the public road, and it's basically an unused public road, we don't think there'll be a significant amount of traffic going past this lot at any time. So the request right now is to move the house to 5 feet from the building, from the property line, so making the setback 15 feet less than it was. And just for your reference, that the road that is existing is gravel. It's still built about 10 foot beyond that. So the closest point on the house will be about roughly 15 feet from the existing gravel road at this time. We're not asking for any setbacks on the sides, it's only on the front.
Tom, we can ask questions.
Yeah,
Samantha, can we ask questions?
yes.
Mark, is really the reason why this is being so far forward is just because of cost and what it would cost to push the house back to the setbacks?
Yes. There's a number of costs involved that aren't necessarily, apparent straight away. Because it's so steep, there's no way to get a driveway out to where the house would be if we dropped it down to grade. So the house essentially needs to be built, or at least a parking space needs to be built at road level. So really, to be functional, the house also, the floor level needs to be roughly at road level, which means every foot we go back, we're increasing the amount of foundation. And once we get past certain thresholds, then the engineering costs increase significantly too. Obviously, right now we're almost over 25 feet in the air on the back deck. And of course, every 10 feet or so we go back, we're increasing that significantly.
Okay. So the parking area shown in this picture, there's gonna have to be an immense amount of backfill anyways, right?
Right. Yeah, there definitely is on the small parking area. We've talked to an engineer, and that's not going to be impossible. But the physical limitations of the lot will make it extremely difficult to build if we push it back any further.
Mr. Chairman, can we go ahead and swear in the applicant, and I'm sorry about that, and anybody wishing to speak on the case and open the public hearing? Sorry about
Yes.
that.
Lay down.
You did it.
So Samantha, do you swear him in?
I can. If you're wishing to speak on this case, please, or any future cases, please raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
Why is this so helpful, God?
Did you guys say it?
Going to.
Commissioners, anybody else have questions?
Is this going to be a permanent residence or second home?
Second home. It's going to be like our vacation home or just to go when we're able to.
Is it gonna be a rental?
No.
Okay. I would just have concerns if it was gonna be a rental for parking, in that situation, being that close to the road. So, yeah, I just wanna make sure.
I have a question for the applicants in that, across the road from you is a rather large area of M1 that could be developed at any time. Would you not be concerned, being that close to the road, should there be that kind of an increase in traffic in the future?
I don't believe so. I think as Mark had said, that we would still be a good, where the gravel is on the road, still be a good 15 feet or so away from that. And so I think we would be all right.
I can also note, to answer that the steepness of this lot continues as you go up the hill. So the road itself is cut in on a pretty steep angle. I don't think any development across the road will be able to be significantly dense, to cause a problem and something like that.
Mark, how far did you say that was going to be from the road?
I'm estimating based on some aerial photography we've got, but it's approximately 15 feet from the road surface as it exists right now, not from the road right of way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Worcester a drive-through road, or does it dead end right down there?
It dead ends.
Okay.
Anybody from the commission have any other questions? Okay.
Should we close the public?
Yes, if you'll close the public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we'll close the public hearing at this time. And can I get a motion?
Based upon the foregoing finding of fact per 54-92, 54-66, and 54-140 of the Village Code, I move to grant the requested variance for case PV 2021-0015 with the conditions stated in the case report.
Second.
Commissioner McAlina?
Vote?
Yes?
Commissioner Briers?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Tondino?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
So I guess that passes.
Motion carries.
Yep.
Thank y'all.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, Chairman, our next case is a conditional use request 2021-20 from Herbert and Missy Gorner. I hope I pronounced that right. They are requesting approval of a conditional use to have a second dwelling as a guest house. It is not intended for a short-term rental, and they have made note that it will not be rented on a long term. This is in an R1 single-family residential district, tract 2A-3, section 21, township 11S, range 13E, within the northwest quarter of the northwest quarter, or more commonly referred to as 420 Brady Canyon Road. This is an interesting property because of its location. First of all, it is the last property in village limits on Brady Canyon Road. Just east and south of it is a M1 zoning district, and to the west is R1 zoning. So you have a lot of mixed uses here. There isn't really a set neighborhood use. They are not in a subdivision, so they do not have any restrictive covenants attached to this property. So basically, they're going to be guided by the village code, which does allow for a second dwelling to be placed on the property. If you will please consider this case separate from our next quasi-judicial public hearing, only consider the use at this time. We do have with us Missy today to explain her case further. I don't see anybody on the line. Well, I'll let you open the public hearing, but when it's time, I do have one written input to mention. But if you would please explain your case, Missy, and then we'll open the public hearing.
Okay.
Just real slow, and then let go.
There. Can you hear me now? Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Missy Gerner, and my husband and I live at 420 Brady Canyon Road. We're looking for, our application is seeking approval for a second dwelling. We would like to have a small guest house on our property. We are full-time residents. We purchased our property originally in August 2019 as a vacation home. We're from San Antonio. We moved here full-time in April of 2020 and have been a full-time resident since then. We sold our property in San Antonio. When we first moved here, we've always wanted to have a second unit. Our house, which we love, is a very open plan. And my husband suffers from fairly severe allergies. I don't know if others, we discovered worse allergies here than we knew when we moved here. And he has a hard time sometimes at night sleeping. And we do have people, now that the pandemic is almost over, we have people that want to visit our family and others, but it would be very, very difficult for my husband to have people in the house because he can't kind of roam at night because he has to sit up or he has to stand up. So in the beginning, we tried to purchase. We have a vacant lot next to us. We have several vacant lots next to us, which are mobile home rated. We tried to purchase one of those where we might be able to put a home, but we're unsuccessful. On the other side of the creek, which is part of our property, there's a house in the county that had pretty much been vacant for as long as we had been here. So we reached out to see if we might be able to purchase that property, but we're unsuccessful to do that. So the alternative, we began to look at an alternative to where we could have a small guest house where we could, we could all be comfortable to have our guests or our families come. And the location that we're seeking to, so the first application is for the right to, the request to put in to have a small home. We're looking to have a custom home built, and it would be built in a shipping container, so it would not be built here. It would be built somewhere else and brought to us completed, but it would meet all residential standards. It is not a park model or any kind of mobile home. And the size of the unit is 160 square feet. It's a fully contained small little studio apartment, and it would be visually connected to our home. It wouldn't be physically connected, but the way that we would be putting it on the house and building a deck to tie into our own deck would make it look like it is, an extension of the property. And if you look at, on page 3 is a rendering of the house that we're looking to put. It will be stained as our house is. The only thing that we've decided not to do that is in this picture is we're not going to put the rooftop for 2 reasons. One, many of our guests are over 70, and we decided they probably would not be climbing up the stairs to get to it. The other is with the staircase, exterior staircase to get there, we decided that with kids in the neighborhood, we don't have many, but if there were kids that might be out walking around, they might want to walk up, and that it might be a hazard for them to do that. So that's the one thing from the rendering that we're not planning to do. And then on the page 9, it shows shows our house, the front of our house, the parking area, and the section on the left on the top picture is where we would propose to put the unit, the little guest house, and the end of the guest house would come, if you see the tree that's in the middle of the picture, it would not extend out to that tree. So there's, as you can see, there's a great deal of distance still to the road, where the coloration of the road is where the actual road is. The difference in the gravel and the color.
Okay. Do we have any questions by the commissioners?
Did you want to open the public hearing
Yes.
and swear?
Thank you for helping me.
That's okay. And swear everybody in.
Okay, at this time, we'd like to open the public hearing. Any comments?
Why, so you got the shed on the right-hand side of the house, if you're looking at the front of the house. Is it possible to put that kind of more in front of that house? I'm really not quite comfortable putting it that close to the front property line on that side.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Tondino, can we save the variance land
Got
use
it,
questions?
got it. Okay.
And only approach the use right now?
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Thank you, sorry.
So, I have a question. Does this have a kitchen in it?
It does.
Does this make it multifamily?
So, according to the R1 code, under conditional uses, 2-family dwellings are allowed provided that the conditions are met, which they meet be the use is for generational housing, long-term monthly rental, or care provider, and shall not be a short-term rental. And so with this thought, they're in compliance with that, if you all think that the use is
Okay.
appropriate for the neighborhood.
It doesn't have a stove or anything like that. It's a sink and microwave.
Yeah. Okay. I think they're cool as far as the container and tiny house, all that concept and stuff. I love the idea of all that. And I'd like to see our village, embrace more of that. I don't know how that starts, and maybe this is it.
Yeah, this would be a great step if one day they wanted to rent it out to our workforce and provide housing that's much needed. That would be amazing. But
We have put a lot of time into trying to find something that would enhance our property and not detract from it.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to add to the record, we received one letter opposing this development. This property owner is not within the 200 feet of the notification area, and his property is in the county. So it's in the unincorporated area of our county. I just wanted that to be read into the record.
I'm sorry, you broke up, Samantha.
We have received one opposition to this case outside of the 200 feet of notification, and the property owner is within the county.
Oh, okay. So do we need to add that to the record, or?
We just passed them out to the commissioners for their review, but since it's a quasi-judicial public hearing and they can't be cross-examined, I will not be reading this into the record.
Okay. Let me make one other clarification. So we're going to vote first to allow them to have it. And then the variance request would be second, right?
Yes, sir. Commissioners, should you allow the use, then they would be able to place this tiny home on their property. The second case would enable them to encroach into the setbacks as set forth in R1. So that'll be our second case. Should you deny the variance, then they would need to reposition or have a smaller, a tinier home, basically. That's how that case would work. But if the use is approved, they would be able to proceed with placing a second dwelling on the property.
Okay. Do we have any more questions from the commissioners? Scarlett? No? Okay. At this time, I'd like to close the public hearing. And can I get a motion?
Yeah, I know.
Based upon the foregoing finding of fact per 54-68 and 54-92 of the village code, I move to grant the requested conditional use approval for case PB 2021-20 with the conditions stated in the case report.
Second.
Can I get a roll call?
I second. Oh,
Commissioner McElina,
Yes?
Commissioner Byers,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Tondino,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
yes.
Motion passes.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioners. Moving us along to item C, this is the same applicant now requesting a variance, case number 2021-22. They are requesting to encroach 16 feet into the required 20 feet setbacks on the front as designated by R1, located within Tract 2A3, Section 21, Township 11S, Range 13E of the northwest quarter of the northwest corner, formerly or commonly known as 420 Brady Canyon Road. This is an interesting lot due to its shape as well as the floodplain horseshoes around the backside of their property. They actually have a floodway that we would not allow them to build into, even if they had proper flow-throughs on the structure. So placement of this property is very limited, and Missy is here with us to explain her request to encroach 16 feet.
Okay.
Thank you. There are two locations that we considered, there are only two sites that could even be considered to where we could place it. The first one is that you can see on page 9, you can see that we have a shed that is there, and then there's a fence that goes around the shed. There is an area in front of the shed that could possibly be, a building could be located there. The problem for us is several. One, we would definitely have to take out one of our major trees, one of the old growth trees that we have there. And we have had the entire property done by the village came out to check, and we took down several trees that we needed to when we first bought it. But it would require the removal of one. But the other problem is that piece right there, the view from, as I said in our explanation, the view from the windows of our house would be 2 dumpsters. If you were sitting in the area and enjoying the apartment, you would be looking directly at 2 dumpsters. The other is you would be looking at the back of our shed on the other side, and the front doors would open up to the parked cars in the front. So aesthetically, it also would be far less attractive for the neighborhood. It would look like we had just placed a structure in the open area. The area that we would very much like to put the space is on the, if you're looking at the picture on 19, is at the left-hand corner. If you look at the picture of the unit that we would put in, those glass doors would look down past our house to the back of the house, to the creek and the hill behind us. We would be able to do some nice decking where we could come off of our front porch and tie in the walkway to the house to give it a much more permanent look. And it actually will not at all impede any of the traffic. We have the creek that is on our right. It is our property that rounds the hill. And there, if you can see the tree that is on page 9, again, it shows you there, our house would stop before that tree. And there's quite a bit of distance between the tree and the end of the gravel and then the beginning of the road. And so we've worked very hard to improve the quality of our home since we bought it. Brady Canyon has quite a bit of mixed use, mixed neighborhood, so we're very, very careful on what we do to our property. We're not wanting to do anything that would detract or cause any hindrance to our neighbor.
Ma'am, or Samantha, is the green on here the floodplain? Is that what that refers to?
Are you looking at what is the page?
Page 4, ma'am.
Page 4.
Yeah, no, it's the unusable property. So it is.
Floodplain is on page 5, just where you see that river. So they're in a zone AE, which means the base flood elevation needs to be determined by a surveyor still.
And the part that we identified as green is the part of our property that is not, that we can't do anything with. You've got the floodplain there, and then the rest of the green that's on the other side of what my husband put in as Brady Canyon Creek, that's all a hill, a straight up hill. So it's not, we have a nice large lot. We're quite isolated, actually, but can't do a lot with it.
My first comment when I was speaking about the wrong thing, I really don't like how close it is to the front. Is there a way to pivot? Even put it on an angle and kind of stick it back, past the corner of the house. I mean, you have to do a little backfill and things like that, and then you'd be looking out, to the creek still too. I don't want to set a precedence here of letting things get that close. So that's kind of my hesitation here, for this situation.
We would not allow fill in a floodplain because it's a designated floodway. They would have to move it to the other side of their property if or position it
So you're
parallel
saying-
to the home. But fill, I'm just saying fill is not going to be allowed in the floodway.
So you're saying that the position right now that they're requesting is as far to the left and as far back as you would allow because of floodplain issues?
Yes, sir. It's interesting too because they're the last property within the village limits, and so essentially the next property to the north would have a 0 setback since there are no setbacks in the county.
Correct.
But again, you fall under village ordinances, and so that's why we're
Well, I
here
mean,
today.
it doesn't matter because the creek's right there.
Yeah, and the creek, and
Yeah.
it's definitely a hardship.
Can you turn it? So it'd be the same direction as your house?
No, there's no, I mean, I would think, we want to have something that enhances the look of the neighborhood and look, if you turned it, there's not enough room to do it without taking out all those trees that you see right there. And it would, I mean, it doesn't, it diminishes our property and the look of it. I mean, I understand completely what you're saying, but we're very conscious of the road, and it would not be obvious or feel like it was impeding at all in the.
No, and ma'am, it's nothing against like you and what you're trying to do. My question is, if we approve this, the next guy down the road that wants to do it, that doesn't have your conscious thought about it, we would have a hard time denying them because we approved yours. And I'm not saying which way we're going.
No, I understand that, but I do know that my first years in working was in the planning department in the city of San Antonio. So I certainly understand the work that you do and the reasons for it, which is one of the reasons we're so cautious on everything we're doing. But each one is an individual case as well. And the case before us was a variance because their property just did not align itself to that. We do think because of where we are truly at the end of the county, at the beginning of the county, and half of the road in front of us is actually not even asphalt. It's not maintained by the village. And we don't get until we don't get the plow to come through. And we truly are kind of right on the road. So, if we could have purchased a lot next to us, we would have been delighted to do that. And we made every effort that we could, but we can't. And, it is a significant problem for us to be able to have people come. And that's why we've looked as hard as we have to set something up that would be good for our property, would give us the ability to have guests over, and would not detract at all from any of our neighbors. We are going to push it, as close to the house as we can and as far over, but we do have the creek problem, and it would be unsafe and wouldn't be approved by the village anyway for us to move any further down on the side of our house.
But you do pick up 6 more feet if you moved it to the shed side of the property.
Well, we would need variances for both. We would need 2 variances. We have a utility, we have a easement on the side, so on that side, we would have two easements, but quite frankly, the aesthetics of it would be ugly, and we don't, it would not be something that we would do. We would either have to decide if it was, we love our home, but if we have to, if we can't have visitors, I'm not sure. But that's not something we want to think about, but it doesn't do us any good to put a house that is going to look ugly in our, on the property.
Commissioners, any other questions?
Just to review, Samantha, variances are granted due to what conditions?
Irregular lot shapes, hardships of the land, being in steep terrain, maybe there's a rock shelf there where they can't build, and a floodplain such as this would create a hardship of the land.
Any other questions? I'd like to go ahead and close the public hearing. And can I get a motion?
Based upon the foregoing finding of fact per 54-92 and 54-66 and 54-140 of the Village Code, I move to grant the request for variance approval for case PD 2021-22 with the conditions stated in the case report.
Second.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Commissioner McElina,
Yes.
Commissioner Byers,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly. Aye. Commissioner Tonito,
No.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1.
Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you for being here. Chairman McElina, that concludes our quasi-judicial public hearings. Now we'll move into public hearings. We have first the amendment to the Village Code, Chapter 54, to define and amend uses in commercial zoned districts to reflect the newly signed Cannabis Regulation Act that will take effect June 29th, 2021. We have worked alongside our village attorney to add in definitions from this new state statute that allows the recreational use of cannabis. So we've added in definitions to Chapter 54 as well as defined in all commercial zones except for C3, and also in the industrial zones and the use of commercial cannabis and the dispensing of it. So consumption and dispensing of commercial cannabis would be allowed in those zones. It was recommended by Councilor Eby that we keep it out of our walking district due to families being in those districts, and it's a high foot traffic, and to keep it family friendly, that we do not have it in our walking Main Street district. I'll let you open the public hearing and stand for any questions that anyone may have.
We have it. I want to go ahead and open the public hearing. Do we have any questions or comments? I take it that's a no.
Thank you. With that, today, I would look for a recommendation to the governing body for adoption of the amendments to Chapter 54. with our zoning districts and to add the new definitions in regarding cannabis. And those are straight from the Cannabis Regulation Act. They're not definitions that we've created. They're just copy and pasted into our ordinance. Yes.
Do we just vote on that, Samantha, or do we need a motion, or?
Yes, a motion to recommend adoption to the village council.
Can I get a motion?
I move that we adopt ordinance amending Village of Ruidoso Municipal Code, Chapter 54, Land Use, Section 5431, Article 2, Zoning District, Division 3, District Regulations, and adopt.
Okay, can I get a second?
You chickens.
So I'm going to ask a question, even though we're in the middle of a motion, but so this is happening regardless.
Regardless.
The commercialization of cannabis in the
Well,
village?
not just that, but it coming to town, like being in the village, like, I mean, there's nothing, I mean, our recommendation could say no, but it really doesn't matter.
Yes, that's correct. The state statute does not give us the ability to zone out or to keep out completely the commercialization of cannabis. It only allows us to designate neighborhood uses, times of operation, and to keep them a maximum of 300 feet away from schools and daycares. We're not allowed to restrict signage, so anything with, say, like a marijuana leaf or a bud or something like that, we're not allowed to restrict that. So this is essentially what we can do to keep the neighborhood uses. Well, I think that we need to add these definitions in and observe the state statute and to keep them into the zoning districts where it's more appropriate. We already have several dispensaries for medical marijuana in C2.
And so is Joe Eby's, Commissioner or Councilman Joe Eby's recommendation of, you know, what he said, is that like what we're doing, or is that going to be decided?
So right here in the ordinance and the changes, you'll see that it is added in for commercial cannabis activity being a conditional use. It'll be allowed by conditional use in our other C1, C2.
But C1's like Midtown, so they could put a, you know.
C3 is Midtown.
Oh, C3. Okay.
So Sacred Grounds would be the last building in C3. And everything after that is C2.
Got it.
I think we're waiting on a second.
That's what.
Way behind Colorado, if that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
Samantha, can I second it?
Why not?
Well, he's not the actual chairman, right?
Right.
Yeah, you're not the real guy.
This is funny. Dies for lack of a second.
Man. Oh gosh. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we say.
We're gonna do it anyway.
The village is gonna pass it through anyways.
Right.
Well, I know the village council always considers their boards, and so if you all make a motion that if you have recommended changes to what I've presented today, we can weigh those in and present those changes.
Can we say that they can only stay to the existing medical use facilities?
No, we cannot.
No. I'm looking for a kickback, you know.
You want to table this to the next meeting?
Yeah. The state statute's very specific on what local jurisdictions can do, which is very limited, and what we cannot do. And so zoning or keeping them out of the village completely and only keeping it medical is not an option.
Can we say we recommend that they stay off of Meacham and Suttereth? But those are different.
So those that are there would be able to remain. It does say that you can limit density, but I'm not even sure how you would do that. Maybe based on population is
Like one for every 2 miles of highway or something, or
Only 3 per town.
3 per person.
3 per person.
yeah, but he's saying one for every 100,000 people. But we don't have that many.
Yeah.
Can we have like a quarter one?
That actually
We don't even have that many people.
passed it from the Senate. From the House.
Oh, there is no math. It just says that you may limit the density. So,
Yeah, no, I'm,
but if you all have any recommendations that I can add to this, I'd be more than happy to make those changes. If you'd like to see them kept off of Sudworth further, that is something that we can add in. So I'm willing to take any recommendation that you all have as commissioners and present that.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want, because that mean, shoot, right there at that ski shop across from, or even the back door, or what was the back door. It's right there near Schlotsky's, that building.
Oh, okay.
They could open up one right where kids walk by. That's my. Can we say?
They sell alcohol and
go in and buy them a bag.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I can do that now.
that's true.
So,
Well, why make it more available? Because they got to get
Why not?
their bicycle. They got to get the bicycle all the way up here, past Farley's. Kids aren't that
my
active
issue
these days.
isn't with the legalization or whatever. It's the lack of support for people that have a problem with it and guiding and directing them into to help. There's, if you're going to provide addictive type, whether it's alcohol or any other drugs. In fact, I say we legalize everything, but you make education and treatment for use and abuse of such more first hand and available, and that's my problem with it. And there's none of that has been accompanies any of this legalization.
the request for improvement in medical health conditions across this country has been a topic for decades, and we have not seen an improvement. I don't think you will.
No,
It's not monetarily
Beneficial.
compensatory.
Right, and that's why I'm not going to facilitate it with the second, and because it's,
Kind of moot.
care less. I think they ought to go ahead and legalize everything, but I have caveats.
Would each dispensary then have to come before P and Z to get approval for that conditional use before they could open that facility? There you go, guys.
but we can't deny it because it's already been.
Well,
Yeah, it's the law. The law don't-
right, you really can't deny it, okay?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, why is it here?
Come on, cough it up. Come on, do it.
So just like any other conditional use, if they come in and it's just not fitting for the region that they're going in, say they're surrounded by homes, or if there's a
We
strong
could deny
case of
based
opposition,
on
it's conditional use. So it wouldn't
some
just be us issuing a business license and say, go open your dispensary or go open your restaurant or whatever it is that they'd be doing to consume it. So it would be
Come
conditional
on,
use.
Michelina, you can do it.
And you can make restrictions.
I'll second it. What do you,
But he
you want to
can't,
table
or
it
what?
to the next meeting?
Is that it? He can't second it?
I can't, I don't think.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Tim?
Samantha, to me, I've been listening in here a little while, and it seems like, correct me if I'm mistaken, I didn't catch the whole conversation, but to me, it seems like the planning and zoning board may want at tightening this up some. It doesn't seem like you guys are totally comfortable with what's being proposed. And, I don't believe Zach's on, but, I think if there's other restrictions that aren't completely restricting, if you guys can push this back. I think we got some time to work on it. You may want to make sure that Zach comes in and you guys look at it, see what you're comfortable with. It's a new law for us, and we certainly want to try to get something worked in before June, but the selling and the places that they actually commercially distribute it isn't going to take effect till January, if I'm not mistaken, Samantha. So, it seems like there's some debate going on and you guys aren't totally comfortable with the language. Am I right?
Yes.
I was under the assumption that Zach looked at it already.
He did, but, if you guys still want further consultation on this, I think you can continue the discussion.
Why don't we table it to the next meeting then?
Yes, that'd be great. We can also, right now, it's allowed by conditional use in all of the commercial zones except for C3. If you wanted to tighten that up and only allow it in C1, that's an option. So, like Manager Dodge said, if you have even more strict requirements that you'd like to add to our code, we have time to do that.
Sorry, I don't know the zoning map by heart, but we're
Let me pull it up. I can pull it up.
put it in the M1 district.
Just stick it in the downs.
Yeah, can the downs take this over? Can they take the revenue stream?
I think they ought to be required to post, as do
Alcohol?
alcohol, but gambling. If you see billboards and stuff, if you have a problem with gambling, call this number kind of thing. I think that's all I'm asking for.
But didn't you know marijuana's not addictive, right?
No,
Bullshit.
you do not have withdrawal symptoms. Medically speaking, it's not addictive.
It is
Mentally.
psychologically addicting.
Yeah. But from a physical standpoint,
Yeah.
it's not.
Physically.
Yeah.
You're splitting hairs there.
Well, I've got very little to split, so, I'm serious.
Psychological,
Split already, I don't know.
psychological addiction can be just as debilitating.
Oh, it can be, yeah.
So
No,
that's,
I was just razzing you, okay,
You have to poke it,
You're making such a stand here.
So
Why is that?
this is Meacham here. The light purple is our C2,
What's the dark purple?
C1. So if you didn't allow it in C2 but allowed it in C1, the dark purple would be. The yellow is R1 and the light blue is M1.
How many do we have in C2 already? That would be a question.
Approximately 10,
We have 10 places right now?
approximately.
What the heck?
Medical.
Yeah,
Marijuana.
I mean, I'm good with the medical part, like, that, I think that, provides a service to people. It's the recreational part I'm a little concerned about.
Unfortunately, you're a governing body of the state kind of made that decision.
Yeah. They're not my governing.
So this, this rose color represents C3,
Okay, so that's.
and that's the
Newtown.
only area that we would like to, not have included for the commercial.
Can you go more north, please?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Zach he's just driving into town. He's gonna jump on here pretty quick and he can advise you if you guys feel that it needs to be more restrictive than what's being proposed. I think that's what.
Where's Farley's?
Yeah, whatever you guys feel that you want to.
It's up here.
Funny guy.
I'm almost to
Okay,
Farley's.
I'll tell you what, Tim, we'll look at this while Zach's driving in, okay?
Okay, so I think you passed it. Maybe? No? Oh, no.
The red represents a C4.
C4.
Sam, I'm here, Chairman.
Good, okay?
Well,
Then
Zach,
we have Zach, guys.
it'd be nice if you're
Any
here.
questions?
How much can we restrict this, Zach?
Well, the statute says you can restrict it, you can place reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions on it.
So can we restrict it to a certain commercial zoning?
Let me just say that there are no rules. I mean, there's no yes and no answer to that. And I believe that eventually it's potentially going to be litigated. Is that reasonable? Arguably, it is reasonable. Do you want to take a shot at that? It's just what is your appetite for restricting it and potentially ending up in litigation over it? I mean, it's whether or not it's reasonable is going to be a question of, for a judge to decide. But, if that's what you feel like is reasonable, then,
I see.
we can give it a shot. And I would feel comfortable arguing that in a courtroom too.
Okay. So Samantha, is that the dark purple on the bottom? That's where the RV park is, right?
That is correct. It is zoned C1.
And then the light blue is C2 or whatever color that is.
The baby blue is at M1, so that's zoned,
But right along Meacham though.
the lavender color is a,
I'm partially
C2.
colorblind. Okay, so
sorry. So right along Meacham is
C2.
C2, yes, sir.
And then the red that's up at the top there. What's that?
That's an R4.
Oh, okay. Where is,
It's
okay,
those
so there's
townhomes.
Hummingbird
I can't think of
Cabins
the
and then. So the existing, what I was trying to get at, where the existing medical places is right up there.
That's one of them.
It's one of them. And then the other one, I only thought there was two, because there's the other one down here on Meacham, or Suttereth.
We have one,
Stuff, I guess.
All you gotta do is go to the doctor and say, I have issues.
Well,
You guys would be so much more visible.
we have one moving into, Ultra Health will be moving into the old house of Kellum near the Cork and Kettle, near Lincoln County Grill, where Classy Kids is in that.
the right where we're thinking about, oh
There's one
gosh.
down there by,
Do they have to come and get a conditional use?
If they want to sell the paraphernalia, yes, they do. But if they're only going in as a medical marijuana, then they're classified as a pharmacy and they don't.
Oh, okay.
But the recreational,
It's all conditional use only.
So
So
they'd
they would
have
come
to
in.
come to apply for that, and we could tell them no because of where they're at.
Correct.
But my no will be just, can they just be at the top of Camelot?
If you would like, we can leave them out of C3 and C2. I mean, that would be an option to zone them out of those two and just say that it's not conducive. Those medical marijuana dispensaries that are currently there would be allowed to remain as long as they're in operation as a non-conforming use of that district.
Got it. What do you think about that, Zach? Guess he's not there anymore.
Zach?
Say the question again, sorry. Hold on.
Oh, just, we're talking about restricting it to, that it can't be in C3 or C2. Do you think that'd be a viable condition? I can already hear his answer, though.
We can't hear you.
Principal restriction. What court is ultimately going to decide remains to be seen. But I don't think it's unreasonable. And all the bill says is that you can place reasonable restrictions on it.
Oh, okay.
Question, reasonable. I think, you're not completely shutting them out of town or attempting to. It's clear that you can't do that. So if you're in a position where you're like trying to guess what the legislature meant and what they're going to do.
Yes.
And you guys are considering it in one commercial district, correct?
C1
Yes.
and C4 in our industrial district.
So in two districts.
Yeah, C1 and what'd you say?
C4. Which basically, Commissioner Tontino would like to keep it, any additionals from coming in on Meacham or Sadreth in those neighborhood, zoned areas.
Okay.
To make it a little more restrictive than what we presented of keeping it out of C3.
Because a lot of those areas, a lot of those places, they got houses right behind them. So you got commercial and then the street behind it is residential. Or even backed up with, fence between, not that, But I'm just trying to make it harder. People are going to do what they're going to do, but make it harder.
Well, you're not just trying to make it harder, you're also considering the health, safety, and welfare of the residents that live behind that district, right?
That's what I meant.
We're
Way
intermittent.
to put it in good words.
health, safety, and welfare.
The health, safety, and welfare of our community. If I second it, but I second it and say with the condition of, or do we have to make a new motion?
I would make your recommended changes. If you could, let me know that you would like to remove it out of the C2 district as well. And then, we can take it out of a conditional use in C2 and then leave the rest of the ordinance as is. So right
Samantha, I
now,
got a
it's
question.
approvable by conditional use in C2, but with your recommendations, I could remove it out of there as conditional use and it just would not be allowable. And those that are existing would be able to stay as non-conforming.
Samantha, you said how many medical dispensaries do we have right now?
Apparently
We-
10.
Yes, near 10 approximately.
And what zone are they in?
They are all in C2 at this point.
C2. Huh.
So what we'd be telling them is that pretty much you can continue selling medically, but not recreationally.
I
I don't know
believe
how you
that,
do that.
that these medical dispensaries will be allowed to dispense recreationally as well once June 29th comes.
Oh, so we don't even have a,
Or not June 29th, that's when the bill is enacted, but next year, whenever the regulation for cannabis is taking place and they allow the sell, yeah, at that point.
oh, so even the medical places, even that place in Midtown in the Hall House of Kellum will be able to sell recreational regardless of what we say.
That's C2. They're not Main Street, C3. I believe the medical patients do not pay sales tax, is the difference.
Have you?
Mm-hmm.
And it's,
I've been to one of these places.
it's not like it's,
No, I know. But all the places I've seen where it's at are not where you have,
we're off the beaten path.
right, yes.
Yeah.
Like you had to go to them. They weren't like, oh, there, shoot, I'm walking by, there it is. Because I just walked by, Nomad and Parts Unlimited and, Happy Hiker and then, oh, here we go.
Well, I like the idea of keeping it out of Midtown.
Yeah. I just don't want it coming to my next door neighbor either, in my store.
It doesn't bother me any more than alcohol sales.
That'd be fantastic if they did that.
What?
She said. If they bought my store.
Okay, so if we could have you all make a recommendation, Commissioner Tondino, if that is your pleasure to remove it out of C2, I'd be happy to make those changes prior to presenting to.
So how do I word that? Like, do I say I second with the conditions or with the conditions?
If you would just direct me to remove commercial cannabis from C2 as a conditional use, and then the rest can remain as written.
Samantha, can you remove commercial cannabis from C2 as a conditional use? And then I second.
And then keep the rest of the ordinance as
Keep the rest
written.
of the ordinance. Yes,
So do you move?
I so move it. Now you call for roll call.
Oh, well, we had a motion on the
Yeah.
floor, so
Yeah.
we need to.
I second with those conditions.
You want to amend your motion?
Oh, watch out. You have to make a new motion.
Okay, so Commissioner Williams' motion has died due to a lack of a second. So would somebody like to propose a new motion?
I just want to ask one question before we do this.
Of course.
If we say that the medical places cannot sell recreational, do we have the right to do that?
No, Chairman, I do not believe we have the authority to regulate between medical and recreational dispensing.
See, that's, okay.
I ain't got time for that. That's what Zach's supposed to be here for.
Zach, what do you say?
Zach's like, I'm driving.
I'm out of here.
The question was, can we prohibit recreational from selling medical and medical?
Well, no, could we prohibit the medical places from
No.
selling recreational?
That are currently in business in a C2 region.
No, the bill did not allow to regulate that.
See, yeah.
So I would say, or I already said it, we just have to make a motion now with those conditions set forth.
So if you would make that motion.
So I make a motion to send this to council with the conditions set forth.
By removing commercial cannabis from C2.
By removing commercial cannabis from C2.
We got a second? Okay, Charlotte?
Commissioner Michelina,
Yes.
Commissioner Byers,
No.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Tondino,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
No.
We don't have, we have 2 yes and 2
Do
no.
what you want to do. You
Well, I can't have my cake and eat it too?
No, you can't do it legally. You cannot do what you want to do.
Well, hey, it's at least worth a shot.
I mean, our best shot at controlling this is to have them come to us for conditional use before they open. That's the best shot you have.
Okay,
I don't-
so with our motion dying, is this something that you all would like to have a workshop meeting to discuss further with our village attorney? We can get some more insight on the bill and see how we can better align this with neighborhood uses for
Maybe you can dash a
proper
condition,
zoning.
Bert, that says that they have to have some program.
That's all I'm asking for.
Well, maybe you can make that a condition.
It is included. It is included in what you read.
No, I haven't.
That educational programs and all of that can be carried on in that location for people using the
Can
facility.
or are
No.
mandated to?
Well, most of
I
them
think
do
that
have, but
They
can.
should have in their pamphlets on the last page at the bottom, if you have a problem.
Nobody ever gets to the last page.
That'd be a good idea.
That's all I'm asking.
They don't give out pamphlets though.
They give
Well,
out
in Colorado,
menus.
you know, that was, that's kind of basic. I figure it's going to be very similar. And, you know, I was reading their pamphlet, and that's one thing that I did not like about it. And nowhere
In there, did it give you a
when they
number to
talked
call?
about it, did they say, if you have a problem, this is where you need to go?
I agree
That's all
with
I'm
you.
asking.
Medically speaking, I very much agree with you. I think so. But
That's pretty simple.
So I guess we can't make another motion now, huh?
Yeah, you can.
Yes, you can continue if
Let's
you
just see how
feel
many
like,
times this takes.
if we do,
Oh, no.
want to have a workshop meeting, that's also something that would be available.
Samantha,
Yes, sir.
how many commissioners are present?
4.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. We have 5.
Yeah.
How is
3 against 2.
Did somebody not vote?
No, we all did. It was 3 against 2.
Sorry. I did count wrong. Sorry. We do have 3 yeses and 2 nos, so the motion does pass.
Yes. What are we even arguing about?
Thank you, Zach.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you, Zach.
Can't even count on one
You
hand.
can't count.
Well, I was just,
I wondered what was going on.
I kind of thought
Maybe
that
it
too,
takes
but
a
I was like,
half or
well, she's the
two-thirds
one that
vote.
took the roll call. I was like, well, I guess I didn't hear right. We know what we're doing around here.
All right. Let's close
All
this thing.
right.
I got things to do.
Okay, what about new
Like what? You're
business?
retired.
No. It's an Eskimo.
Right?
You're gonna go open you up a shop, aren't you?
You should.
Man.
You got a great location.
I'll be presenting your recommendation to
That'd be fantastic.
To council.
Vitamin C too.
Do we have anybody from the public that would like to weigh in on this first draft of the ordinance, the first reading? We'd like to take into consideration any public input for this ordinance as well. This is an opportunity for them.
We're just talking
I do
about
see we have Dina Turner on. Dina, would you like to weigh in on this ordinance change?
Are we talking about the,
Okay, she stated no.
No, she said no.
Okay.
are we talking about section 54 or are we still talking about the, I guess I'm not, oh, this one here.
Section 54.
The meeting deal?
I was still on the amendment to Chapter 54 to include commercial cannabis.
I thought we just dealt with that.
I want to make sure that we have someone from the public on if they would like to weigh in.
Are we the public?
Okay, so seeing none, Chairman, our next item is new business, and it's adoption of Resolution 21-02 Opens Meeting Act, a resolution declaring reasonable notice of public meetings for the Planning Commission. Due to the renovations at Village Hall being, the timeframe being extended, we'll not be able to move our meetings back there. So until September, we'll relocate our meetings to the Horton Complex. So beginning in June, if y'all please show up at the Horton Complex.
Too far.
The address is, where's my ordinance?
Behind the football field. We know where it is.
I just wanted to read it for the record, for the minutes. So it's 535 Resort Drive. Is that correct? Resort Drive?
Isn't it on Horton
I
Circle?
thought it was on Horton Circle, yeah. We tried to find out, I'm making sure it's Horton.
Behind
There's
Horton
a typo
Stadium.
in the Opens Meeting Act with the address. Let me get that. I apologize. No, I don't want to get anybody lost, and so I want to make sure. So it's 134 Reese Drive, and all of our planning commissions will continue to be held on Zoom and in person at the Horton Complex at 2 o'clock, the first Tuesday of each month through September of this year. And at that time, hopefully, we'll be back at Village Hall. So if I could get a motion to adopt the ordinance 2021-02, the Opens Meeting Act.
So moved.
Hey, got someplace to
There we
be.
go.
Commissioner
Good with it,
McElina,
too.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Byers,
Aye.
Commissioner Tondino,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you all. Chairman Michelina, we will get with you to sign the Opens Meeting Act resolution along with the minutes from last month.
Okay.
Community Development Report. We have been working on our Chapter 54, gathering past cases and minutes to present to Site Southwest. They've been looking over all of your all's hard work over the past years, seeing what kind of cases are coming before the Planning Commission. Why is it that people are requesting variances? And all of us know that the mountain kind of dictates the development around here. And so I think aligning our code with that will be helpful in not having people come to ask for variances monthly. Some of those changes that we're also looking at will come from the Workforce Housing Board. At our last meeting, it was identified that they'd like to weigh in on some of the changes to allow for more multifamily housing, as opposed to it having to be a conditional use in many of our districts, or maybe more live work in our commercial districts.
What do you mean by that?
So,
Cleaners.
Got it.
so as long as they have proper firewalls in place, that would be a use that would be allowable.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been on the table for many years, so that'd be great. We have a new addition to the Community Development Department. We have Maggie Barr. She's our new short-term rental administrative assistant, so we're happy to have her. We are also in the process of transitioning software companies from host compliance to a company called MuniRev. They just have additional features that host compliance wasn't able to compete with, along with hopefully some better customer service. And so that's one thing that we're looking forward to. We have a lot of great events that are going to start happening here at the convention center now that we're turquoise and they're allowable. So that is one of the main reasons we're going to be relocating to Horton to free up this space to continue to start having events. And so we'll be relocating to Horton due to that fact. We also have what we're calling Lincoln County tours, where we want to have self-guided tours throughout the summer for horseback riding, mountain biking, hiking, motorcycles, OHVs, and Jeeps. And so we're going to add those to our Discover Ruidoso app, and you can sign up to take the tours at any time, and you would pay a fee, and with your fee you would receive a t-shirt and also an entry into a sweepstakes. And anybody can join the sweepstakes that would be drawn for at the end of September. And that's going to be having a large prize associated with it, like a motorcycle or a Jeep or an OHV, something of that caliber. So we've got those tours that we're trying to get going by June 1st to try to stimulate the economy and just have a regional event throughout Lincoln County, and just showcase what great trails and off-road things and different locations throughout the county, different businesses. And so we're really trying to showcase our outdoor recreation that we have here. So that's all I've got. Chairman, if you wanted to move to number 9.
Okay. Yeah. Do we have any commissioner comments? Or we all talked up?
I'm done commenting.
Okay. Why don't we adjourn the meeting? Did I get a motion?
I did the gavel for you.
Second the move.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate all this time today.
Sure.